Welcome back, everybody, to Diablo 3. Today we are in the 2.2 patch for Season 3, which starts this Friday. We are only about a day into the 2.2 patch, and the raiment set is already proving that it is much more powerful than the Sunwuko set and can go much further into the greater rift tiers. This is just a quick and rough video for the patch because there are various pieces of gear that I will mention. There are different pieces to have, except I simply just don't have them. So I will mention those pieces of gear, but let's just go ahead and get right into it. Obviously, the first thing you need is the entire raiment set. So with pushing greater rifts, you want to have unity, which I'll go over later. So because of that, you need every single piece of the raiment set. So firstly, you need the boots. I have Dex, Vit, Armor, and Life per second on them, since you can't roll dashing strike damage on your boots. I have lightning resistance in my secondary, which is actually very good because I want to have lightning resistance, stacking lightning resistance on top of having Mara's kaleidoscope and just being immune to fire, because the amount of damage from the amount of damage that fire does in this game is just too much. On the pants, I would much rather have obviously secondary resist with lightning. I don't know how many pieces of gear you can get lightning on, so I'm just gonna say I want lightning resist everywhere that I don't have it. So I would rather have armor instead of all resist. This chest piece is actually very good. Reduces damage from elites is something you really need to be able to just tank the elites in the later greater rift tiers. As for my gloves, I have not re-rolled these yet. They're extremely nice, but I have a health pool of 605k, so I'll probably get rid of the Vit and put CDR there instead. On my shoulders, which are actually ancient, get rid of the all resist, obviously put lightning skill damage. I wanted the extra damage, so I got dashing strike on the shoulders. I'm not sure if CDR would be better, but I wanted the extra damage, so I went for dashing strike. My helm, which is also actually ancient, pretty typical rolls, Dex, Vit, crit chance, and CDR. Instead of physical resist, obviously I would want lightning. For the Reaper's Wraps, I'm not sure if they added any new like bracers in the game that would be better than these, but I had a lot of mats from playing Season 2, so I made 20 of these and then got ones that were ancient that also happened to roll crit chance, so I re-rolled the extra stat to cold skills. Like I mentioned previously, instead of Sunwuko Shines, obviously this is left over from the previous build from the previous patch. I would want Mara's kaleidoscope optimally because fire is just ridiculous, and just being immune to fire and healing off it would be amazing for pushing the greater rifts. And if you're like me and have like two, obviously more or all of them, which would just be ridiculous, ancient items, instead of Dex, you can have cold skill damage here because you make up for the loss of Dex in the other pieces of gear. As for the first gem here that you see, Bane of the Trapped is pretty much obvious for all monks. You are sitting in there tanking with Inner Sanctuary, so all the mobs are around you taking that increased damage from Inner Sanctuary, and Bane of the Trapped is just a flat damage increase on top of that. So Bane of the Trapped, you want to level this as much as possible. It's just a flat damage DPS increase. As for the belt, this is one of the slots I was talking about where you can swap out gear. String of Ears would be better just because it rolls secondary 25% damage decrease from melee attacks, so Witching Hour is okay, but you want the toughness for greater rifts. Flying Dragon, I like Flying Dragon, but I'm not that good with this build yet, so Dashing Strike ends up being spent too fast. When you spend it too fast, you have to wait till a charge comes back in order to use it. So instead I would probably use the Furnace until I get better. I would switch to Flying Dragon when I get better. Stone of Jordan, in this video, I actually didn't remember that I had a Stone of Jordan that had just free elemental damage, so I'm actually using a lightning Suge right now, but obviously if I was using cold skills, I'd be doing a lot more damage. But sadly, I didn't know that I forgot that I had this from a while ago. As for the second gem, the Gogok of Swiftness, it's just amazing for increasing attack speed, the CDR, keeping all your skills up as much as possible, attack speed, except for Flying Dragon for me right now when it's a little too fast. Attack speed is great for this build, except you don't really want to roll attack speed on your gear. You want it other places like Gogok of Swiftness. Unity, you just need this for pushing greater rifts. The 50% damage decrease is pretty much required. Dex, crit chance, increased damage from elites, and instead of cold, I would rather have fire. As for the third and final gem, I use the Gizzard just because it's one of the best, I think, defensive gems. And since with running this build, you have so much toughness, you don't really need more toughness. You need more life per second. And the Gizzard is absolutely insane for that. Mine's only rank 30, but if you get it up to like 40 or 50, the life per second is just absolutely through the roof. And as for skills, obviously, the main skill that this build is centered around Dashing Strike with Blinding Speed. The dodge chance you get from that is amazing for inflating your toughness and getting you through the greater rifts. Inner Sanctuary and Epiphany really help with the survivability in the higher tiered greater rifts. Forbidden Palace for the extra damage. Sixth Sense and Harmony to get that toughness up even higher. Beacon of Yitar, pretty much none of the other passives are worth it. Beacon of Yitar for the just flat 20% CDR. Near Death Experience you want just because, well, higher tiered greater rifts, there's gonna be undodgeable damage that you're just gonna take and end up dying. But this will help you push through that. Breath of Heaven infused with light makes sure that your spirit is up as much as possible, making sure that Dashing Strike is able to be spent whenever. Mantra of Salvation with Perseverance to push the toughness up even higher. And finally, Crippling Wave with Tsunami just keeps the enemy CC'd around you with Inner Sanctuary so that you can Dashing Strike and keep the enemy damage from coming at you as little as possible. As for the Paragon points, you want to max out movement speed and then just put the rest into Dex and Vit if you need it. This depends on what stat you have on your rings and amulets, but I like to go for what my build is: crit chance, and then CDR, and then crit hit damage, and then attack speed last. I said I want attack speed anywhere, but when you want to try to keep that 1 to 10 ratio, so I have about 46% crit chance, so I just max out crit damage to have it's at about 480 on my character. For the defensive slots, you want resist all, and then armor, and then life regen, and then life percent last. Life percent over life regen if you have a relatively small health pool. As for utility, resource cost reduction, and then life on hit, area damage, and gold find last. So, like I said throughout the video, there are various gear slots there that I don't have, and there may be better ones, but for now, and same with the skills, for now that's what I'm running and what I think is the best. But as the season progresses, there will be better stuff. But for now, that is the end of this video. Click the like and subscribe button if you would like, as that is always very appreciated. But for now, it's the end of this video. I will see you guys next time.
I will not do that.